Good afternoon, I am Sade Perry, and today I will be presenting an informative speech on how to be a leader. This is a highly relevant topic because leaders are a part of every organization and they're a part of our everyday life. From CEOs of Fortune 500 companies to supervisors of retail organizations, all the way down to managers at McDonald's. They're politicians, pastors, coaches, teachers, even our parents and older siblings act as leaders in our lives. Researchers have identified particular traits that leaders possess, and therefore some believe that these traits are only obtained through DNA. These traits only come from your mother, from your father, your background in that area. But on the other hand, others maintain that a philosophy that a person can be trained to be a leader through education, through life lessons, or through work experience. One of my favorite quotes is that it takes a village to raise a child. And as we can look at this slide and see, it also can apply to being a leader. There are several influences that contribute to making a leader. The individual, of course, as we are responsible for ourselves, self-awareness, leadership foundations, faith, values, and ethics, ethics being the most important. On to groups such as teamwork, communication, problem solving, and conflict management. On to our community. Inclusion and engagement with diverse communities, connection to your community. That even goes as far as to say where you grew up and those people that were around you that helped to influence you. I have come up with a group of C words that can be used to describe a leader and their particular traits. First being communication skills. Be it that we are in the communication department, we should all have learned by now the power of communicating, and it doesn't matter on what level you're communicating, whether it's personal, interpersonal with someone else, or in a group. We need to have those skills to be able to communicate and communicate effectively. Clarity. Clarity as far as your job roles and positions within a company can sometimes be the best way to communicate with someone. And it can also be a complete mess. If it's not clear, if you're not precise in what you're saying, then you can cause a whole lot of confusion. Charisma. Charisma is a skill of oratory that has been perfectly demonstrated recently by Barack Obama, surged popularity en route to the White House. And as he continues his popularity now that he has gained office, the ability to speak confidently and with meaning is a rare one and carries much merit for those who possess it, and there are few. Calmness. Calmness is a leadership trait that, again, we can learn by looking at Barack Obama. People look at him, and even though his hair has turned from black to gray, he's been under all kinds of responsibility and pressure. The recession, the war in the Middle East, the financial crisis that we've undertaken here in America, all the way down to swine flu. He has all this on his shoulders, and still when he speaks at a monotone pace, and he's quiet and tone, and he's always smiling. So we learned that from him, and that you can use that to be a leader. Confidence. Confidence is key. It flows through a team. If you exhibit confidence in yourself, then other people feel confident in their abilities, and they feel confident with working with you as they know that you know what you're talking about. Consistency. Consistency is important in everything that we do, and of course we look for that in our leaders. It is a similar point to being fair. If we know that when a particular situation takes place, that you're going to handle it the same way every time, and you're not going to change the way you react based on race or sex or age, then we know that this person is being fair, and fairness is key when it comes to business. Last is continuous development. Continuous development, we know smart people learn from other people's mistakes. You don't have to go out there on your own and make the same mistakes that other people have made. You can just learn from their mistakes and then not make them. We also know that smart people learn from other smart people's experiences and their success. Yesterday at the honor roll convention, Professor Knowles spoke about his book that he's writing, and he's led so many different organizations and so many different, he's been instrumental in so many different departments. We know that he's been successful in his life. And I'm sure people, when they see his book and they see that Matthew knows and we know what he's done, you'll be quick to buy that book if you want to emulate his success. I am an avid reader. Leaders, smart people tend to be avid readers, and I like to read smart people's books, leaders of the past, so that I can become a leader of the future. Common Sense, Thomas Paine, one of my favorite books. Looking Forward, a book by FDR, which I admire him. He was one of the only presidents, he is the only president that served 4 terms before he became ill. And I believe if he hadn't became ill, I don't know, he could have went 5 or 6 terms. Frederick Douglass. And so this means that you don't just have to read books from one genre or on one topic. You want to be well versed. And one of my favorite books as well from Reverend Run, Words of Wisdom, that lets you know what it's all about. On his opening remarks, it says, focus, focus, focus. You will only have significant success with something that you have as an obsession. Success comes from having passion and having fun at your objective. So also, when you're thinking about being a leader, you might want to think about exactly what it is that you want to do in your life and your passions so that you can effectively lead. In conclusion, the most important component to becoming a good leader is to have good ethics and values. Nobody wants a liar, a cheater, a stealer, a person that steals to run their organization. Nobody's going to listen or take orders from that sort of person. Everyone should learn what it takes to be a good leader, because the same skills that are needed to be a good leader, it takes to be an effective follower. I'll leave you guys with a famous quote from CEO Tom Peters. It says, "Leaders don't create followers, they create more leaders." So with that being said, even if you're a follower, if you're in a following position right now, you're not the manager, you're not the head person in charge at your job, it doesn't mean that with the skills that you're acquiring right now, that one day you too won't become a leader. Everybody hits their peak at different points. So you might want to listen up, pay attention, learn from others, so that when your time comes to pass, you'll be ready. I also want to say in conclusion that, by show of hands, who's ever seen Coming to America? I thought that we all would have. Eddie Murphy's character in that movie, he worked at McDowell's restaurant, and he started off mopping floors, then he moved on to the fries, then he made it to the grill, and before you knew it, he became the assistant manager. And it also came along with him having a likable personality. He got to know his boss, and once you become a likable person, people will put you in that position to lead. I'll now open up the floor for questions and comments.